Because the moment you understand that the first thing in business people are going to look for you to bring is consistency. Don't come in and slap the backboard on Monday and can't touch the net on Tuesday. How do I, as a business partner or a B2B relationship, can count on that?
Right, so welcome back to another episode of the Murphy Cheatham podcast. Once again, as you all see, I'm joined by a good friend, a good buddy of mine. We met each other working out at the gym. Y'all can't see it because we're not standing up, but I'm 6'7". Paul is what, 6 foot?
Yeah, I'm 6'4".
6'4". Outweighs me past NFL lineman.
Come on, man, I'm coming down.
No, good dude, in better shape than I definitely am in. We got to know each other, and I thought this would be a great conversation to have, a transparent conversation to have, just about execution and executing as one of the main principles. Again, we have planning, we have mindset, planning, execution, and sustainability. Paul Wiggins, good friend, family man. We joke around a lot. Successful entrepreneur. Started off as a long career in the NFL as an NFL lineman. Then was very successful in that. Pivoted to a few industries in California, and now is a leader, one of 4 firms that has baggage handling systems in airports throughout the U.S. and going through a major shift in growth. But I can't give you enough credit, just in the more conversations we have, I think the more we find out about each other.
Sure.
But if you can, just give people a background of your story, as you see with the Oregon.
Go Ducks.
Yeah. This is January 5th. Oh yeah. This is our Founders Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, January 5th. Oregon is set to play Indiana University later this week. Tell the people about yourself. I know you're from Oregon, played at Oregon, and all that.
Yeah, just a little bit about myself. As Murphy said, Paul Wiggins, graduate of the University of Oregon. After that, I had the chance to play in the NFL for a little while. Great character building experiences, as I always say about the NFL. You think you know about something until you really experience it, and then you find out a whole new world about it. But a lot of things that I took out of the NFL that I carried on with me afterwards. After I got out of the NFL, I got into financial services, got into financial planning, asset management, had my Series 7, 6624 with offices in Palm Springs, California, Oregon, and Washington. Did very well in that industry. Really, I got into it because of my financial experiences in the NFL. I went from $35 a month to $50,000 a month. You already know what happened. You already know what happened in that situation. The reason why I got in the financial industry is because I self-taught myself about financial planning, about what a mutual fund is, what an annuity is, stocks, bonds, all that, how to invest long, short term, all those types of things. And it just was an affinity for me that I grew towards. So that was a career that I got into afterwards. Did that for a while. And then I transitioned into the industry I am now, which is defense contracting. Golden Ratio Management Corporation is the name of the business. We are a systems integration company for Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security. And basically what we do is run large-scale deployment projects that take a multiple of disciplines to come together to execute the objective of what has to be done, or the mission, as we state it is. And from that, we do program project management, construction management, logistics management. We have full engineering services within there, from doing site surveys to conceptuals all the way through 100% designs, permitting, all those types of things. We also have site leads that are out there that run all boots on the ground activities. We also have performed rigging services and full integration white glove services of a lot of scanning equipment that we use out here, mainly in the airports, all the passenger scanning equipment, all the baggage handling equipment that goes through TSA and others. We integrate that all over the country for TSA at the airports and things of that nature. We also have a technical services division where we have technicians across the country that perform preventative and corrective maintenance. And we have third-party agreements with companies like Smith's Detection, Leidos, Rapiscan, and others to perform those maintenance services. I've had a great career of opportunity
Hmm.
in my lifetime so far. I tell people I haven't had a W-2 job since the NFL,
Yeah.
and so that was quite a while ago. But, for whatever reason, the NFL experience and the sports experience has really been the platform of my success. And that has truly allowed me to take the opportunities that I've had and, for whatever reason, be successful in them, but not through just, good luck.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
trial, error, a lot of failure along the way.
yeah,
And as we say, true entrepreneurs will fail more than they succeed
yeah,
in life.
yeah,
And so to understand that means you've been successful because you understand that failure is your catalyst of just lessons learned.
yeah.
And then you take those and obviously apply them to be better as
Mm.
you move on. So thank you for the introduction, sir.
Yeah, yeah, no, thank you for that. I mean, I wasn't gonna go into all the defense contract and all that. I was
Yeah,
gonna let
yeah,
you
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's, jokingly G14 classified and all that type of stuff. But it's funny. I've realized in this industry, personality wise, it's probably like one or two types of people that get into just sales as a whole.
Right.
But I see there's somebody who is wildly intelligent, wildly smart, but scared to execute,
Hmm.
or somebody that's not scared to execute,
Hmm.
and they'll go chasing squirrels as they call them in the
Yeah.
country,
Oh, yeah.
but they may not have a plan, right? And
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and you need both, but you need to be able to be okay to fail, as you alluded to a minute ago. So
Yeah.
so if you could talk about your mindset, and let me back up. Who was it? It was Christian McCaffrey
Hmm.
that said every play in the NFL is like a 7-second fight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And being a lineman, yeah, that,
Oh,
that
yeah.
seems like that may be all what you did. But
Yeah.
uh, in that, how is it that you transfer that to your business?
Mm.
And you have a good blend of being able to understand and plan
Yeah.
while you execute. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. As an athlete, we've all been through training all of our lives. From the first time you picked up a basketball, well, I didn't play football till high school, but the first time, I played baseball, you're part of a structure. You're part of an operation. The further you go in sports, the more intense that structure, those operations get, the more detailed they get, the more planning goes into it, the more overall objective
Yeah.
and of that whole process and procedure to the execution. And, going through college, then getting into the NFL, for whatever reason, I always respected the structure of the training
Okay.
all across the board you know, from the time I was an athlete from a young age to a professional athlete. And when you think about structure of training, those structures of training are set up for you to be successful.
Mhm.
They're not set up for you to fail. Some are better than the others, but overall, they're all set up for you to be successful in what you do. And when you understand that the structure at a professional level is for the ultimate success,
Hmm.
it's the ultimate detail of planning for success. Nothing can be left unturned. Nothing can be left undiscussed. Nothing can be left overshadowed when you're at that level because every play is a 7-second fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every play matters. Every second of the game is important to what's being done. And so being able to take the structure of training that I have been in and been a part of, and then take that and just apply it to the business world. It's not hard, but it's a discipline. And that's where the bridge has to be crossed. As athletes, it's all physical. It's get up 5 a.m., go run, eat right, do all those things. You study your opponent,
Mhm.
you practice, you walk through, you do all the things that in a structured format
Mhm.
allow you to measure your success and become successful at every phase of what you're doing. If you can take that same training structure and mentally now apply it, not physically apply it, but mentally apply it to the business world, us as athletes have had the greatest training ever to be successful.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
don't realize it.
Yeah.
And the difference now becomes in that you have to absolutely transform from physical to mental and take that same competitive drive, take that same want for achievement, and take the same structure that
Yeah.
you have known that you can breathe air. It's like breathing air for you, that same structure, because you know it so well, and just believe in it and apply it to what you're doing today. And you will outperform Wharton people, Harvard graduates,
Right.
because you have no idea the level of that training.
Mm.
That training just didn't happen yesterday.
Right.
That training has been developed over years, over decades. Actually, football training comes out of the military, comes out of all the special forces and how they go about all the things that they do. And just, that's where it all started. And that's the same mentality. And you talk about offense, defense, the same
Right.
thing in military, attack, defense, all those types of things. But learning to be able to take that and become a high performer now is where the bridge has to be crossed for a lot of,
Okay.
like people like myself. And that's truly the reason why I've been successful. I'm not the smartest person in my company, by
Yeah.
any stretch
Yeah.
of the imagination.
Uh,
But it's not my job to be the subject matter expert in one thing. It's not my job to be the accountant. It's not my
mm.
job to be all those things. It's my job.
All the types of engineers you
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
It's my job to be the leader and the visionary and absolutely drive the business forward. But I have set that structure just no different. If you walk into our meetings, if you're a part of our organization, you could walk into the Pittsburgh Steelers meetings that we used to have, and they're the same thing.
Hmm.
We do all the things the same.
I
And
love
it's
it.
tedious, it's detailed, but it works.
Yeah. 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 No, you had a meeting here at the office a few weeks ago. Won't go into it, but I could tell just how intentional you were and how you set up the meeting and the different professionals you have in the room, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
talk to me about that transition. How long were you in were you in the
So
NFL?
I played for, I was on the practice squad, so I was 5 years total.
Okay.
I was in there.
So how long? So you were there, and then transitioning that into financial services. What was that? What was that idea like? Where you had the big idea to then go into that, and then how did you execute that big idea?
So I don't know if it was a big idea or just, I, for whatever reason, I had met a lady in Eugene, Oregon, who was in financial services, Kay Russell at the time. Uh, she had been in the financial industry for a long time.
Hmm.
She actually introduced me to some of the opportunities. Um, and I really, like I said, had an affinity for the
Yeah.
situation, from what I had already been dealing with myself. By the end of my first year in the NFL, I had fired my agents and my financial advisors.
Whoa. Okay. That's it.
And
Do not gloss over that
yeah,
because
and I say that, and I'm sorry to gloss over it, but they were not leading me the way that they should.
mm,
And I mean that from the standpoint of, I would say at least 80% of the people who go into the NFL do not have money,
right.
do not come from a solid financial background, do not understand all what comes with the responsibility and the accountability of that situation. And as long as I felt that as long as they got their commissions and were paid, they were okay to let me spend myself to death.
Mm,
And that was the wrong thing. And if you're not, I don't know if you want to call it, accountable enough yourself to
hmm.
tell the people that you're serving that you're doing the wrong things, and how are you yourself doing the right thing?
Mm.
You know, and that was just pretty apparent. You're not doing the right thing for me because you're not telling me that I'm doing the wrong thing.
Nah, yeah, yeah. You know,
That's just,
whether you're scared of losing
yeah,
you as a client or scared of
whatever it
whatever.
is. I
Right.
mean, that's your job.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hired you to look after my best interests. And sometimes that means smacking somebody upside the head and saying, wake up. you know, as football players, you're used to getting hit upside the head,
Right. Right. Right.
and that was disappointing to me.
Okay.
Obviously we'll have another podcast about professional players and investments and the things that they need to look at
Yeah.
doing and understanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, just that whole situation, I ended up firing those guys and then getting into the financial world. And, I had already gotten my insurance license to sell insurance. And it was interesting. Once people found out I had my insurance license, I started being recruited by,
Mm,
all these different,
I could imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
just sending me letters, people calling me, who were in the area. In Eugene, Oregon, believe it or not, extremely wealthy
Okay.
area. A lot of old timber money, things of
Okay.
that nature. I mean,
Okay.
you may see a guy driving a Honda Civic that's worth a couple $100 million.
That makes sense.
You know,
That's the
and,
way it should be.
and
Yeah.
literally, I mean, unless you know, you know. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of wealth. So when people knew that I was starting to get into the financial industry, obviously they start recruiting me and things of that nature. But I had a stupid idea about wanting to be an independent financial advisor.
Okay.
But you know, when you do that, it's commission only. So you only eat what you kill. And that
Right.
was my real first entry into sales and things of that nature and crap like that. But you know, it just, you know, it really resonated with me because I knew that it wasn't just me that didn't have financial advice.
Mm.
And I got into it obviously wanting to work with other professional players, but I never had one professional client
Really?
in the whole time that I was
So I
there.
think that's the assumption, right? Like, okay, the guy was in the NFL. He just called all his buddies, and next thing you
Yeah,
know, he was successful.
yeah, right.
Yeah. So I mean, so how was it when you were like, okay, I want to be independent? And then I don't know if you know, like my dad was an exec for State Farm before he
Okay.
retired. So,
Yeah.
and I have an uncle who had three agencies in up in Elk Grove, north of Sacramento. I know
Mhm.
a lot of people who had agencies, but people don't know the grind. So how long did it take you to be quote unquote successful, to where you were stable and successful? What was that journey like?
By the end of the first year.
Okay, that's rare.
I mean, I can tell you, God has always blessed me, you know,
Yeah.
with opportunity. And I think I told you that early on in my career, literally, I mean, probably within 3 months after getting my Series 7 and all of that, I was introduced to a father and daughter who were Native American.
Okay.
And they were from a tribe in California, right outside of Palm Springs. And at the time, each member of the tribe who was 18 and getting a GED, this was 20 years ago,
Okay.
was getting $35,000 a month.
A month.
A month. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so you had the whole spectrum of people, just people who lived on the reservations, people who didn't, people who were just turned 18, people
Yeah.
who were 60, you know, getting this money. And there was no financial accountability or responsibility. And in a lot of ways, I could understand why.
Oh man, me at
You
18
know,
getting thirty-five
you
thousand dollars a
basically
month?
now have a lifetime annuity and, you know, you can do whatever you want to do.
No. Yeah.
But I started working with the father and daughter. Um, Long story short, would go down, spend time on the reservation, you know, and just started working with them and um, yeah, started doing some financial planning, things of that nature, uh, life insurance, stuff like that, you know, that because some of the family members may not get the money
Mm.
because of bloodline, married outside of whatever, things
Okay.
like that. So there was different instances of that, but you know, I just started working with them and the tribe and yeah, it went very well.
Okay. And
And
how long? So that to now, what you're doing seems like the
eternity.
wide end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And throughout that, well, let me back up. In that relationship that you met and that you fostered, and following up with them with the service, I always teach you don't ask for business, you offer value.
Yeah.
Um, which is and you got to understand the person you're offering value to make sure they find it valuable,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
What was that process like for you? Did you find that out early? Because I know like a lot of the sales training, a lot of the development stuff was like cold call and force them into
Yeah.
a deal, all that type of craziness. But which that may work for some people,
Yeah.
right? What was that process like?
So I mean, there's always the awakening when you first get into sales
Okay.
of what sales really is.
Okay.
And quite honestly, you know, to be, I think, a good salesperson, you've got to experience bad sales. And you yourself have to be a little bad at it
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, and you're bad at it in the beginning because you're young to the understanding of it.
Yes.
You know,
It's a good way to put it.
you're naive to
Yeah.
what it really is. And yeah, you know, you need to go through the cold calls of being able to do 200 calls in 2 hours and, you know, run through the phone list and make 1,000 calls every couple of days. And, you got to experience that whole boiler room,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
situation. And that's a great movie for people who have never seen what it's like to be in sales at a pressured situation.
yeah,
The Boiler Room is a great movie. It's one of my go-tos
yeah,
because it truly tells you, the intensity of what it is in sales. But those experiences early on, and then coupled with being around some good people who were great at sales. Again, people have been put in my path that have mentored me in certain ways of that has always made me better.
yeah,
They never held me back.
yeah,
We may not have had agreements all along the way, but I've always been somebody that can take the lessons from what people do good, and if it's worthwhile, apply it to what I'm doing and make me better. Um, and there were some key people early on. Marvin Raval was a gentleman, was the only black uh, in, I should say, financial
mm,
independent person there in Eugene, Oregon, and he basically took me under his wing. And like the first day I met him, he was like, "How are you dressing like that and thinking that you could be in sales?" I mean, here's a guy that's like 5'1"
yeah,
and looks like George Jefferson. No crap. I mean, if you want to know exactly what he looked like, but I mean, the moment he saw me, he sized me up on something that was flawed.
yeah,
And it was my presence of just my appearance.
yeah,
Now I'm 6'4". I'm a big guy. I'm always going to be noticed.
yeah,
But being noticed may not be good if you don't look good. You don't
yeah. That's the
have the
truth.
right, type of looking presence. Same with
Yeah,
you. You understand the importance that
yeah,
you're going to be noticed.
yeah. You're gonna be noticed.
And
You
if
must be
people
noticed
see
for the
you,
right
they're going to
thing.
judge you immediately.
Absolutely,
And it's usually how you
absolutely.
look.
Right.
So, those types of things that were good for me, even his wife, Darby Giannone, she had her PhD in organizational design and development. Yeah, I couldn't send a email or anything out until she reviewed it. And you
Mm.
want to look at a piece of paper that's a bloodbath. The red lines that would go through. You know,
Those moments
oh
too.
my God, I used
Right,
to feel
right,
like
right,
I'm back in kindergarten because
right.
she was an old Italian lady, and she would just look down her glasses at me and just shake her head, and I'd just be like,
Yeah,
I can't win,
yeah,
but she made me so much better in my
yeah,
communication
yeah.
and how to
Man, you
communicate
brought
on a
back some
B2B
memories.
level
Yeah,
and things of that nature that I respected.
yeah,
I didn't look at it as being a negative. Uh, and so, those types of people, have always been in my life in certain ways. Uh, and then coupling that with the understanding of, like I said, the training that I've gone through and all
mhm,
those things. I've just had a unique perspective to be able to take that and apply it to business. And when you have certain perspectives and you have certain philosophies about business and you understand what makes business successful, those transcend industry.
yeah.
They
Absolutely.
absolutely will transcend industry and allow you to see everything for what it really is. And so, just those experiences that I had early on have really, I think, set me up now for
Yeah,
what's to be the greatest of it all.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, again, not gonna disclose, but you've done very well and you're on the cusp of some pretty huge stuff. I wanna get back to it's extremely rare, maybe this does go back to your training as an athlete. It's
Mhm.
extremely rare to find somebody who is aggressive and coachable. If somebody's really aggressive, they may not be the most coachable person because they're
Yeah.
aggressive and they're and there's some level of kind of closed minded to where you can't coach me. Now it's one thing to close minded to where I'm going to be successful, but you might need to be open to the journey of
Oh
that, right?
God, yeah.
Did you always have that, or would you attribute that to your training from high school, college, pros, and then being able to transfer that?
You know, um, I was always open-minded to experience
Yeah,
and wisdom and understanding. And again, I don't know where I got some of these epiphanies in life. I mean, I really don't. But first off, the industry I'm in now, I have a sociology degree, as I said, and,
hmm
and a master's in hustle, to get it done. But I'm in an industry of engineering,
yeah,
technical
you are
services, uh,
highly technical.
program project management.
Yeah,
I never learned any of this. I don't.
Right.
I mean, that was not a discipline that I studied in college. But when I understand the discipline and how to apply it through process procedure,
Mhm.
not having to be an expert in it all, but understanding that I do understand the system
Mm.
that I've created. I understand the structure that I created. I understand the process and procedures for each department that have been created that
Mm.
I can oversee what's happening. And I don't need to be the expert because, as you and I are talking about, it's the execution that matters. And if the execution is flawed, then there's a flaw in the process and procedure and the structure, or you didn't follow it. One of the two have happened. That's it, and that's
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
That's pretty simple at that point in
yeah.
time. And so understanding that and just having some epiphanies of, you know, hiring great people, recruiting great people. Uh, I had the epiphany of learning from large businesses.
Mhm.
These large businesses that are billions of dollars don't do things that don't work. And we are not smarter than they are. you know, I mean,
Yeah,
for me to come in here and say that I could be a better real estate management company than CBRE just because I'm more agile or I can
right.
make quicker decisions is stupid.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys have decades of experience and tons more brain power and all
Mhm,
those types of things.
mhm.
And you guys have built success through structure and
Yeah,
through organization and all those types of things, trial and error. That a lot of people who get into business early on think you're going to make an impact because it's just you and oh, I'm going to champion it because I'm Paul Wiggins and
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
make it happen and
yeah.
I can do it better than everybody else. What are you doing better?
Right, right,
Truly,
right.
what
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you
What are you doing
offering
better?
that's
What
better?
resources do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you'll find out that the only thing you can do better is execute. And you better figure that out real quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's a full circle statement. Like there's so much more I could talk on. Just in understanding your place and understanding your opportunity, what you have, and you might have all
Yeah.
the. I mean, I frankly was guilty of that early on in my career.
Yeah.
Right, whether it was because it was like I needed to put
Yeah.
myself up or prop myself up on my pride or what have you.
Yeah.
But then being able to figure out like none of this stuff is new. People have better
Yeah.
systems. It's best to learn their systems
And
and their
so,
ways.
you had asked about being aggressive and being coachable. I mean, you got to be aggressive in what you know.
Yeah,
You got to be aggressive in what you're accountable and responsible for.
yeah,
But you also got to know where your shortcomings are at too.
yeah,
And you got to let people, and in the beginning, every entrepreneur wants to touch and hold everything. You want to be in control of it all. And rightly so, you kind of have to. But you have to understand that as an entrepreneur, um, you're not the coach, you're not the player. I think I told you, you're the owner now.
right.
And that's a whole different mentality than being a coach or being a player. And it's hard to be an owner and then be coached by people.
Mm,
It's very hard. I had no choice in the industry that I'm in. I didn't come from this industry. This industry was brand new. I got into this industry after 9/11. It was when the second generation TSA security equipment was being integrated into the airports. That in itself could be a whole nother podcast.
yeah, we've
But
gone through that story. Yeah,
yeah, I had the opportunity to get into it at that time. My main lane was working with Boeing. And my first project out the gate was integrating the Western region of the United States, all 13 states, 157 federal airports. It's my first project out the gate. Yeah. If you don't think that cliff ain't high,
you're right.
you know,
Right.
you got to jump. You
Yeah,
got to take that, opportunity as it comes. And I think, you were going to ask me something about when do you know?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Take that leap.
you
Take that
don't.
jump.
And the reality is, in business as an entrepreneur, if you're waiting for the moment, it's too late.
Mm,
It's too late.
mm,
Bus already left the stop.
yeah,
If you're waiting for the moment, it's
yeah,
too late.
yeah. That's
As
very
an
true.
entrepreneur, one of the things that I heard early on was about being a visionary and the importance of being a visionary uh, versus being somebody who just waits like for the moment to
Right.
happen. And that's the difference, I believe, in a lot of success. is having a vision that can put you ahead of the moment that you're trying to be a part of,
Yeah,
and that's a whole lesson in itself,
it is.
and you have to understand that as an entrepreneur, you better be able to see around the corner a little bit, and you're going to have to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Now how hard that landing is, it's how well you planned, how you
Yeah, yeah,
prepared, what's
yeah,
your mindset. All those things happen,
yeah.
but you can't wait for the perfect moment.
There's
There's
no
no
such
such
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things where, it takes a lot of courage to be an entrepreneur. It takes a lot of courage, even more so, to be a visionary, because usually there's nobody doing what your vision is, or you're looking to do something in an industry that could be disruptive,
Yeah.
things of that nature. And so that's a big leap. A lot of people who are entrepreneurs take what they potentially have learned, worked with, things of that nature, and then, have the epiphany they can do it better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you said a lot there because you're right. It is a big leap. It's a lot of lessons learned. In the leap, sometimes we're forced into those leaps,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes it's just the only option you have. You said a lot of things really going towards the four pillars, and I really want to get your opinion on this.
Hmm.
Um, this mindset, planning, execution, and sustainability. Out of those four, which are most important to you and why?
Jeez, man. The reality is they're all equally important within the structure of your success.
Okay.
And each one of them are going to have their own subsets to
Okay.
them. Let's talk about planning. What are you planning for? Are you planning just for execution?
Hmm.
Hope not.
Hope not, because you can execute it, and then now what? Right.
Well, it's not even that. What does it take to even get to the execution?
Yeah.
What does it take in that whole workflow to even understand the proper execution, the level of execution that has to be done? So your planning is not just about getting to the end result.
Yeah.
It's your people, your process, your procedure, every step of the way. And when you plan it, have you talked it? Have you walked it? Have you mocked it
Hmm.
to the detail that you have now looked at everything that can happen within just this one occurrence?
So I'll push back. The only reason why I say this is because as somebody starting out, I may not have enough resources to plan all the way through, right? Like, but now I have enough resources. Say when I was a residential real estate agent,
Hmm.
right? All they tell you is get licensed. They don't tell you that getting licensed is frankly not to get your broker in trouble. You still don't know how to run a business,
Hmm.
right? So not only do you need to get licensed, but you need to figure out who has a business plan and how to execute it. But I don't know. Okay, once I execute, how do I do it again? Right? Like how do I grow? How do I scale? Right? And at what
Well,
point do I spend more time on
those
that
are different
than
levels.
making it
But
happen?
let's talk about the first thing you said. How do you do it again? How many times did you do the same play in basketball?
Oh, you do it when it's needed, again and again and again and again,
Okay,
countless.
so come on
Yeah,
now. Come on,
yeah,
start thinking about it. How do
yeah,
you do it again?
yeah,
You practice it,
yeah,
you mock it, you build your structure around the same type of situation
yeah,
so that when you're executing the same things, you're doing the same things all the
yeah,
way up to it.
yeah.
And so, from that position and standpoint, you'll find it's the 80-20 rule about everything you do.
Okay.
80% of everything you do is going to stay the same. Now, here's where it changes. Location may change,
Mhm,
time may change, certain elements of weather may change.
mhm.
Who knows what other ad hoc crap could come up? Truck gets a flat tire, or
Right,
plane doesn't land in time, or
right.
somebody gets sick. But successful businesses, and this is one of the things that I think successful entrepreneurs or even young entrepreneurs need to understand right away. Build your process and procedures for sustainability.
Yes.
Build what you do in the beginning for sustainability. You can always go back and get better,
Yeah.
but you can't get worse. I mean,
Because you'll crash and
yeah,
burn.
because the
Yeah, yeah,
moment you understand that the first thing in business people are going to look for you to bring is consistency. Don't come in and slap the backboard on Monday and can't touch the net on Tuesday. How do I, as a business partner
Right.
or a B2B relationship, can count on that?
Right.
See, one of the things that people don't understand even about professional sports, the greatest athletes don't have the best careers. The most consistent
Yeah.
have the best careers. Plain and simple. Because me as an owner, me as a head coach, I'm not going to put my hat on somebody who I don't know what they're bringing to the table every day.
Right, right. And we hear that all the time watching all the sports shows. Like, this
Yeah.
guy was great last year, and now he's up for a
Hey,
contract. What's
yeah.
going on?
And you
All
got to
that.
believe what you see. Don't think you're living in a different reality or a different set of rules or things of that nature. Consistency in business has been my ultimate foundation. You know, in my line of work, you get one shot, one kill. I can't go take down, you know, DFW Terminal C checkpoint and not have it back up and running the next day according to schedule.
Right.
That's not a local problem. That's an international problem.
Right.
That is a press CBS News problem.
Yeah.
That is a CNN who is the dummy
Right.
that did this.
Right.
And that doesn't get a phone call from just my business partner. I'm getting a call from DC about what are you doing? What's going on? And those are calls that you only get once. Because they ain't calling you twice because you ain't there no more.
Right. So similar to NFL.
Yeah.
NFL stands for not for long.
Not for long. I mean, the lane that I'm in, and it's just so fitting for me, you know, is because it is high pressure.
Yeah.
It's high accountability and responsibility. It's high level execution.
Yeah.
But my training allows me to be very comfortable in this setting. And my culture that I have built in the company would be no different. As I said in the beginning, I'm walking into an NFL meeting room. You know, everybody has to go through the same process, procedures of execution, whether it's from planning, you know, all the way through everything they have to do. And even the mindset of what's happening in, like with golden ratio right now. Everybody sees what's happening in, you know, the changes in the federal government, the changes in how things are being looked at from minority businesses and things of that nature. Whether it's been good or bad for me, I've only been a merit-based business since I've been in business. The minority stuff and situations never really mattered in my world. Only execution and performance mattered. And so with our company, a lot of the things that people are now finding out that I started a long time ago is your pedigree matters. The type of people who you are working in your company matter.
Yeah.
The certifications, the credentialing all matter now more than ever. And that's one thing these small businesses and things of that nature really, and even, you know, young entrepreneurs need to understand that it's no longer about if you're Black or Asian or a woman or anything of that nature. It's truly about the pedigree of your business and the merit of your business and what you can be accountable for.
Well, Paul, I just want to thank you again for coming. Still got to get the kids together.
Probably live a mile apart.
Yeah, exactly. We only live like a mile apart. We both got daddy duty and pickups, you know, and all that. I know you got to go. You know, you got
you're good.
to run and all that. But I can't thank you enough for your friendship, your honesty, even outside of the business that we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
you know, just the realism of what people face is not all roses. if if that, and as somebody who's carried the weight of responsibility everywhere you've gone, you know, and a lot of the other things that you've had to overcome with different businesses and all that stuff, I'm beyond proud and appreciate. Love you, man. Looking forward to more conversations. Just thank you for being here.
No, I appreciate it. Murphy, you're doing a great thing here and bringing a lot of things to light. I'm happy to be a part of your inaugural season here, and hopefully you'll have me back as things progress, and, you know, we could talk about any things more specific. But, you know, there's a lot of veils out there in entrepreneurship,
man,
and even more so with social media and things of that nature. So you being able to bring reality to it from different perspectives and all that is a big deal. So good job to you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate you. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. See y'all next episode. Thank you for listening to the Murphy Cheatham podcast. If you found this information valuable, please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow.